your work fool you, there's more to this robot than meets the eye. With a top speed of 4 miles an hour and weighing in at 84.6 kilos, Robot the Bruce is one of tonight's heaviest contenders.
Roboteers, stand by.
And the final team to take on the gauntlet, Robot the Bruce, with George Francis and Mick Cutter. They both fly model aeroplanes.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Robot the Bruce in its sexy see-through gear. Very heavy, 84.6 kilos, driven by a team. They call themselves the Village Idiots. They're no idiots, they're very clever electric engineers. Look at the power. No weapons there, just brute force.
Robot the Bruce.
As you can see, the robot is built with no special armaments. We're purely relying on a lot of weight. We're in the heavyweight category, and just brute power and a lot of traction and push people out of the way.
Great strength. George Francis, the driver, is building a single-engine aeroplane driven by a car engine. It's a bit of a worry, but this isn't worrying. That's strong. Good run. They're through.
Now, of all the driving I think I've ever seen in here, that was just about the best.
No problem. Easy as anything.
No, that was a hell of a performance. Well done.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Is Dead Metal, our scorpion goalkeeper, shaking with fear. Don't forget the ball. Don't forget the ball. That's a little bit more like it. Oh, good save by Dead Metal. Get it away. Magnificent stuff. There's big Dreadnought in there. And Robot the Bruce, with that sheer power, through to the edge of the goal area. Can he get the last chance? The keeper's beaten. Go on, go on. It's there.
Hey, that was fantastic.
Wasn't quite as easy as it looked. Got there in the end.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
It's the box against the wedge. No weapons on board either. Both charged by 2 large Sinclair C5 motors. If Cruella can get in underneath Robot the Bruce, there could be a shock here. Robot the Bruce will be using that vast, near 85 kilogram power to shove it into one of the patrol zones, or against the spikes, or against the grills. Oh, that's suicide, surely! What on earth is Philip Martin doing? He's on the grill, he won't get out from there now.
I thought he'd got you there. I thought he's going to be able to tip you over.
Nearly, yeah. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be.
But how did you manage to get him to run away onto that grate?
Pass.
He just committed suicide.
I think so.
Doesn't matter, though. You're through. Well done.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Robot the Bruce with George Francis and Mick Cutter against Wedgehog with Chris Glaser and Hugo Elias. Sheer brute force against the toothpick. It could all be over very, very quickly. He's on the grill. I don't think he's going to get out of there. Are you sure, taking on a grill with that thing? And the house robots are closing in for the kill as well. The sergeant with the circular saw. Shunt is in there too. There's the saw blade. I don't think they're going to get out. Matilda's in, looking for a few scraps, as usual. Shunt takes on Robot the Bruce, but I think it's too little too late. Robot the Bruce is the winner!
All right, Shunt, quieten down, quieten down. You did very well.
Roboteers, stand by.
There they are, the drivers of Roadblock with its scooped front, and Body Hammer, the Cold Fusion team, and Rex Garrod on the right, driver of Recyclops with the extending ton. There's Cunning Plan from the University of Reading.
3, 2,
and Robot the Bruce, and
1.
Tracy from tonight.
Activate.
And this for the title, the first ever UK Robot Wars champion. Aggressive style already, especially from Tracy spiking Recyclops, and that allows Roadblock to come in underneath. There's the extended tongue, but Recyclops can't flip Tracy over at this moment in time. Tracy comes back. There's Body Hammer in the spotlight briefly, and running away, Cunning Plan. needs to get back into the action and be aggressive, and it is there, because the judges will mark for aggression, and Tracy's up on cunning plan, and both of them are out, immobilised. 4 left, body hammer, and Recyclops, and Robert the Bruce there to the left-hand side, and the dangerous Roadblock, who's persisting in this attack on Recyclops, the most dangerous attacking robot otherwise in the field, but up on inside Recyclops. Down it comes, the tongue takes a fearful bashing. Roadblock still pressurising, and body hammer thrusts into Robot the Bruce. Recyclops on its side, not yet down. Robot the Bruce trying to get involved. Rex Garrard needs to get his tongue back in every sense of the word. Recyclops up the picture. There's the chain off Recyclops, and that attacking by Roadblock has paid off. Recyclops is out. They're down to 3. Body hammer. Roadblock behind it, and there's Robot the Bruce up on his side and goes as well, and that leaves 2. The Roadblock team of students from Bodmin against the team of nuclear engineers and Body Hammer. Here's Roadblock closing in on the far more experienced engineering team, getting in underneath. It's over. It goes to the judges, and the arena on its feet, a standing ovation.
From Ipswich, Chaos.
The creators of Robot the Bruce in the First Wars are back, recycling their dead metal. Its front ram, originally part of a Phantom jet nose gear, this bot is seeded 6th for the series craze.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Chaos team, Mike Cutter and George Francis, veterans from the First Wars. Sheer brute force against the toothpick. It could all be over very, very quickly. He's on the grill. I don't think he's going to get out of there.
The main difference is we've gone for 2 wheels instead of 4. We're using the same 2 motors. We've also got a weapon this year rather than just a square cube and pushing people out of the way. Hopefully we can either lift them or spear them with a ram.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Using titanium techno on that blade in the front, Chaos takes on the barrels. Spinning rather crazily. It's a nippy robot. Over the seesaw into Sergeant Bash, blocking the way. Has he got the power to get beyond Bash? No. Retreats as the torch flicks out. Takes him on again. Bashes. Barges. And I think they've done enough.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Well, one of Mike Cutter's ambitions is to watch drag racing in the States. Dragging dead metal towards that pit. This is a battle of pride here, because Chaos is doing enough surely to go through anyway, but it wants dead metal in that pit. It wants dead metal submerged in the smoke. Can he pull dead metal in? Humiliation for the house robot. That's what they wanted. Made their day.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Beauty and the Beast, David and Goliath, Ajax against Shed Charterhouse, perhaps. Chaos getting in the first blow, and back again. That blade on the front, made from the titanium, found in a scrapyard in Croydon. In on the attack again, Wheelosaurus flip, what we've seen before. It can recover from that. Torched by Sergeant Bash. In comes Matilda. And again, trying to cut those Victorian pram wheels apart. Peter Gibson looks dubious. Impaling Wheelosaurus on the deadly tank traps. Matilda in there as well. There's a circular saw blade. They're after Wheelosaurus here. Pinning him in. In comes Shunt with the pickaxe. Meanwhile, Chaos is reveling in all this, look. Has to avoid dead metal. Nice pirouette and turn. Balletic stuff from Chaos. Well, they're enjoying it. Staying out of danger, but dead metal's after you, Chaos. Into the PPZ. 1 blow. 2 blows. They're after Wheelosaurus, aren't they? There's the shunt cam. They're trying to get to the very brains of the beast. I think they're after revenge. Don't forget, Wheelosaurus caused major damage to Sergeant Bash. This is carnage. They're after blood and oil. Away goes Chaos again. Through the flames, hits the sidebar, bounces back. Squeezes out of the grip the pincers of dead metal. And again, just away. Time running out. Dead metal! Ooh, dead metal's hurt!
Wheelosaurus, come on.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
The Robot Wars veterans, Chaos against the newcomers from Mace. On the attack in the first place. Chaos spinning away. Chaos seeded 6th for the series. There's the dangerous blade, made from titanium. Good speed away from Mace by Chaos. Now turning again. Sort of jousting with each other, but Mace pushing Chaos into the house robots. That'll gain points because the action from Mace virtually immobilizing Chaos. Trying to get back to life, but they know they're in trouble, and that was because of the intervention of Mace in the first place. Chaos seems immobilized, and now the damage can start. The dreadful tattoo, the drumbeat of that awesome flail. 2,000 RPMs, churning. And now the house robots come in. Mace is there with the flare once again, so Kill-A-Lot here at the bottom of your picture. Shunt to the top. Mace goes for glory. They're pushing it around now like a ping-pong ball into Matilda's tusks. Chaos immobilized. Well, risen from the dead it would seem. But has Chaos got enough time to come back? Now Matilda flips it on end. And the damage had been done by Mace in the first place. It was this thrust by Mace on Chaos into Matilda. Chaos turning turtle. Tries to come back to life, but they knew they'd been immobilized. Immobilized by Mace's actions. The punishment adding insult to injury. With Ram Rombit, a sacrificial robot built especially for this exhibition, driven by an old friend of Robot Wars, George Francis. Now he loves to take on a house robot. Mind you, so do the boys from Dublin. With Nemesis from Ireland, a furry, freakish fireball too often in Robot Wars. All Air Force engineers giving a smouldering look there to Bash because they remember him so well from the past. The Nemesis boys all want to go into space and they're in the air! They're in the air! And they're on fire! It could all be over for Nemesis shortly now! Nemesis! Burning! On fire! Waiting for them is Kill-A-Lot 2! Oh my goodness me! Hopes up in flames! Burning, boggling Nemesis eyes!
Well, guys, you went out in a ball of flames in the last war. I would have thought you'd learned.
Not at all. Burn it, that's what I say. Burn it all to hell.
Roboteers, stand by.
Would you look at that? I can't believe it, Nemesis.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Nemesis has the kebab on board, the onions and the chef's hat. This is brilliant. Bash immediately goes in. We've even heard they've doused each other with paraffin in the pits here. Oh, look at Ram Rombit, the sacrificial robot. And look at Nemesis on fire. Well, I hope you like your kebab well cooked. I don't think this is going to last long. For goodness sake, don't try this at home, any of you. These are trained roboteers, would you believe? My health and safety boys on board. Look at Nemesis. Oh, it's a Catherine Wheel Ram Rombit. Oh, fireworks. That's brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Look at that.
From Ipswich, Chaos 2.
Creator George Francis has been involved in Robot War since the very beginning with Robot the Bruce and then Chaos. This redesigned battle has a carbon dioxide powered high pressure flipper at 20 miles an hour. There's no quicker. And this is what Chaos 1 looked like in the last series of Robot Wars. There on the left, flipping up Wheelosaurus. A victory there. And taking on Mace. We've already seen Mace back in this series. It's the self-righting mechanism of Chaos 1 and capable of taking punishment there.
Hi, I'm George Francis. This is Ian Swan, his son, Richard Swan. This is our robot, Chaos 2. It's two powerful motors to give it on each wheel and a high-power gas pad flip up on the front.
The great advantage of this is tremendous traction, sticks to the ground very well, and the flip up is awesome. It'll throw another robot clean into the air.
They think they're better than Cassius? Well, if you missed it from the last series, this was Cassius in action. Quick, powerful with the lifting arm. Brave, taking on even the house robots. Certainly strong enough and inventive enough to up and over the old Cassius Muhammad Ali soft shoe shuffle.
From Berkshire, Crocodilotron.
The Milliard family use bits and pieces from the garden, and the local tip for their creation, a strimmer motor, provides the power. The teeth clamped by a pneumatic ram at 1.5 meters. It's the longest in the heat.
My name's Alan Milliard, and I'm the team captain. This is my son Sam, and my other son Stephen.
7.
And this is our robot, Crocodilotron. Crocodilotron's powered by 2 internal combustion engines, and it has a 500-pound double-acting pneumatic ram to operate the jaw, which has sharp teeth, which opens and shuts with extreme force. We have 2 high-tensile steel spikes on the front, which we aim to ram into our opponents and flip them over. If we can catch them in our mouth, we'll obviously crush them as well.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, with the experienced George Francis at the controls, and Crocodilotron, team captain and driver Alan Milliard and his boys.
Activate.
And immediately, Chaos 2 came racing in on Crocodilotron. We're gonna clap you in our jaws and gobble you up. Well, don't just talk about it. Oh, Crocodilotron, do something! Look at that power from Chaos 2 in that high-pressure flip. And again, magnificent stuff. You can see the exhaust pouring out of the bottom of Crocodilotron. Look at this. This is a real weapon. One of the most powerful we've seen in Robot Wars. And it simply flipped Crocodilotron up and over. You're talking 85 kilos here, simply tossed up in the air like a broken twig. And that's a toothless crocodile now. Rolled on its back, gnashing away at thin air. It's all been a little bit of hot air from the Crocodilotron team. Oh, and now the Chaos 2 takes on Matilda, who spins in rage, and I think has lost part of her chainsaw there. Look, you can see the actual chain just trailing away like some disgusting Matilda entrail. Chaos 2 turns. About to take on the house robots again. This is Bash this time, and shunt at the bottom of your picture. And there, taking some punishment in the corner from Dead Metal, Crocodilotron, for whom time is nigh, I'm afraid. In go the jaws, trying to clamp down on Dead Metal, cause some last late punishment. You can see the puncture marks actually on the bottom of Crocodilotron if you look closely. Meanwhile, look at this, Chaos 2, pinned against the arena walls by the 2 house robots. And Crocodilotron going to the dentist.
Cease.
Well, they're enjoying it. The Milliard boys, Sam and Stephen. Perhaps they like going to the dentist. That's strange. Oh dear. Crocodilotron, over and out. And there is their machine, Sonic, Chris Sherwood, and the youngsters Matthew and Tom. And Chaos 2. George Francis, of course, at the controls, with Ian Swan and son Richard. The team members. And a lot of admiring glances for Chaos 2 in the pits, and that's why immediately that huge, powerful flipper underneath Sonic. And again, this time flipping it back to life. A little bit of a wheelie from Sonic, pulling away. With power and pace, it's got to stay clear of that flipper. This looks a hugely powerful weapon for Robot Wars. Sonic in all sorts of troubles. There's the wheelie again. Get away from Matilda. I'd love to see the Chaos 2 flipper against Matilda, you know, or any one of the house robots, but Sonic here, look at this. Oh, very, very nearly getting in underneath Chaos 2 itself, but turn up and over again. Boop, up you go. So strong. Belly up for Sonic. And I don't think Chaos 2 will go in again to right it. They won't make that same mistake twice. This is shunt piercing the bottom of Sonic. And Chris Sherwood knows his Sonic machine is about to end its competitive life in Robot Wars. Into the pit.
Cease.
And George Francis
calm in victory. David against Goliath here. The big cheese, heavier, bigger. Chaos 2, though. Nippier.
1.
And with George Francis at the controls, they're confident. The great lifting arm of the big cheese against the flipper of Chaos 2. And Roger Plant has steered the big cheese in underneath Chaos 2. Really, for the first time in this heat, in danger, Chaos 2. Look at the speed, though, up to 20 miles an hour. You see, just dancing around the big cheese, which is much more cumbersome. And up and over. How'd you like your cheese? Melted? A little bit of Welsh rarebit, perhaps? Up and over we go. And the hopes of the big cheese grated in these early moments. Oh, turned and tossed onto the barbecue fires. But of course, the big cheese comes again, and once more underneath Chaos 2, and this time rolling Chaos 2 up and over. Now we'll see what George Francis is made of. And there's the Shremek, the self-righting mechanism. Such a feature in this series of Robot Wars. Up and over. They had it in the last wars with Chaos 1, and again, a hugely beneficial feature of Chaos 2. Driving in underneath Big Cheese and flipping it up and over this time. And let me tell you, the Big Cheese weighs as much as an adult. That's the power of this little machine. Chaos 2, but look at this from the Big Cheese. Oh, trying so hard to right itself here. Roger Plant can't quite turn the Big Cheese up and over. The wedge is up on its side, and look, Chaos 2 senses victory because they know there's nothing more from the Big Cheese. And in comes Sir Kill-A-Lot. And remember what Roger Plant said earlier on in the heat. He was capable of beating Sir Kill-A-Lot, whose spies were out, told him, and this, I'm afraid, is what we call Botribution. Robot style. Revenge for Kill-A-Lot. Dumping the Big Cheese onto the big flipper, but the Big Cheese sensed that was what was going to happen and got away. Now Sergeant Bash and Kill-A-Lot in close attention. Look at the shredded side. The Big Cheese torn. Oh, great loss over though to flip Bash up and over, and Bash has lost its helmet. Oh, that's splendid stuff. The Big Cheese still capable of wonderful Wars entertainment. You can see George Francis chuckling away there in the Chaos team as well. Brilliant final. Two tremendous robots. And Sergeant Bash is in bits and pieces. Chaos 2 with George Francis, Ian and Richard Swan. George very experienced. And here's Trident.
3.
Surprisingly
2,
through to this stage. Stephen Bennett the controls.
Activate.
This would be a mighty upset if Trident could beat Chaos 2 here. Oh, Chaos 2, great speed, and there the power of the flipper already. Oh, and again, and over goes Trident immediately. This is the most powerful flipper in Robot Wars at the moment. Chaos 2, immense strength. Snaps into action. Spring, up goes Trident. Once and twice. Look at that. The speed allied with the power of the flipper. Bang! Up and over Trident. What a performance by Chaos 2. Trident left belly up and on the flame pitch. Trident immobilised. Chaos 2 going through. And now the fun for the house robots. We've waited for this. Shiny, gleaming after 350 hours of work. How long will it take us to destroy you? Cease. Well, Robot Wars without panic attack, unthinkable. It's happened. Next up, Mace 2, Chaos 2. What a battle. It's happened before. It's a grudge match. A rematch. It came in the last series. Mace on the right, Chaos on the left-hand side. Chaos were the favourites in this, but Matilda flipped them up and over, and we waited for the self-righting mechanism to be activated by George Francis. It didn't work, and it was Mace who went through. Chaos 2, formidable with the flipper and the speed. George Francis at the controls, Ian and Richard Swan, and Mace 2. Shane Howard and Brian Fountain.
2.
Brian on the right, met Paul McCartney, Eric Morecambe, and Ruth Maddock in his time. Oh, there you are. Chaos 2 immediately lining up a frontal assault on Mace 2, and it didn't flick up and over on that occasion. The weight of Mace 2, counting in its favour perhaps 78.6 kilos. It is the heavier of these two, certainly though the slower by a long way. Only around half the speed of Chaos 2. Bumping and barging its way off the arena floor again. A big run up here, but don't attack that front lifting arm at the front of Mace 2. That can raise 90 kilos. Be warned, George Francis and your team. This is a really good battle developing here now. We thought it would be. Mace 2 and Chaos 2 together again. Oh, look at that bouncing down, but right side up. Little bit fortunate, perhaps. This time up and over. Starlight, star bright, the star of Mace is out of sight. And Chaos 2, again using that mighty flipper, up and over. And there, surely, the star is extinguished. Chaos 2, a worthy winner, surely. In on the attack again. Mace 2 looks stricken. Chaos 2 perhaps sportingly trying to right its opponent because it knows that lurking, waiting to come in, the house robots dead metal, kill a lot, lifting Mace 2 up into the air. How many robots have we seen disposed like this? Thinking it may take it onto the arena flipper. No. What should we do? Shunt? No. What should we do? The pit? No. Yes, the arena flipper. I think it'll be kill a lot for us today. And Mace 2. How do we finish it all off for poor old Shane and Brian? This is how. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's come alive! Has Mace 2 perhaps? Surely too late though. In comes Dead Metal for a little bit of sugar and slice.
Cease.
Mace 2 out. Chaos 2, worthy winners. Sporting to the end, the boys from Mace 2. But it's Chaos 2 and Firestorm, our first pair into the grand final.
Roboteers, stand by.
And it's Chaos 2 against Firestorm. They're the experienced George Francis, and for Firestorm at the controls, Alex was with the Groundhog team in the second series of Robot Wars. Both quick, nippy, great manoeuvrability. It's Chaos 2 bumping and barging and turning away side by side, sizing each other up. Chaos 2, ooh! Well, he's seen there to get in and underneath. Firestorm is the way to victory. And Chaos 2, oh! Firestorm!
Cease.
What a way to go! I don't think there's any doubt about that, George Francis. What happened to them? Well, this was over so quickly. We've never seen it before. Out of the arena, out of touch. Out of the final. Chaos 2, delightful. Firestorm, derailed and deranged. Oh, and there's our technical consultants just making sure there's anything left.
The winners, Chaos 2. Wow, that was spectacular, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it amazing? Did you think you'd get that far? With a flipper?
No.
You never thought you'd get them out of the arena, did you?
You weren't supposed to.
No. I know you weren't supposed to. We all know you weren't supposed to, but you did.
All I can say is, whoops. Sorry. I was trying to smash him against the fence nice and hard, and he sort of went clean over it.
And he went whoops.
Yeah, I went whoops, yes.
But it's got you through.
Great.
Big whoops. Chaos 2 through to the grand final. Next up, Hypnodisc and those great survivors, Stegosaurus, with Philippa right now in the pits. Enters now the vision of the fans in the arena. Will start as the favourite. has the fan club. And there, the sleek and silver Hypno-Disc. Ken Rose pushing it in, 68 years of age at Keene Gardner. This is the grand final of Robot Wars.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2 with the flipper, formidable. At the controls, George Francis, Ian Swan and Richard Swan there as well. Hypno-Disc with Dave and Kenneth Rose. The disc against the flipper, the speed of Chaos 2. The best two robots in the series have survived. The cream has risen to the top. Stay away from that flipper. Hypno-Disc with a low ground clearance, 23mm, but that might not be enough. Slamming in reverse. Comes Chaos 2. The flipper up and over, and stopping there for a moment, the spinning disc. Look at this. Now, has that in any way damaged the flipper of Chaos 2? I think it may have done. No, backs away, Chaos 2. Comes in on the attack again. You heard Kenneth saying they have to stop the motors in order to get the spinning disc rotating again. Very near the flame pit, but that, I don't think, will bother either of these two robots. They have plenty of armament. Oh! Flips up and over. Chaos 2 has won the final. Flipping Hypno-Disc. The fears have proven true for the Hypno-Disc boys. Chaos 2 came in, got underneath the disc ironically, flipped up and over, and Chaos 2 are the worthy winners of Robot Wars, the champions. Crowned as Hypno-Disc lies battered and beaten, the house robots close in. There's a killer lot. George Francis will try and keep Chaos 2 away from Matilda, and attacks Matilda now. You can see the chainsaws come off the back of Matilda. What an untidy and ghastly sight she makes. Shunt, try to get away from Chaos 2, and why not? The champions want to beat everyone. Taking on Shunt and flipping Shunt over. So two of the house robots done. Off comes Shunt's exhaust stack. Chaos 2 once more, toying with the house robots and destroying them. This is great fun, but they will be back, of course, and revenge will be in their hearts for the champions in the next series. But George Francis and his team, magnificent champions.
Well, chaos by name, chaos by nature. Have you ever seen such total carnage? Not only did he take on Hypno-Disc, he took on the house robots and beat them as well. Let's hear it for the UK Robot Wars champion, Chaos 2!
There's your trophy. Be careful, it could do you some damage.
How do you feel?
Very excited. It's been a tremendous battle. We've really enjoyed it.
It's been a long old haul, hasn't it?
It certainly has, yeah. One or two scares, but, you know, great stuff.
Richard was asking what his mum would think. I think she's going to be very, very proud. We're witnessing a new league of robot. What was it that made your robot so special, do you think?
The awesome flip-up and all the hard work we put into it.
I think so too. Congratulations, guys.
Once again, Chaos 2, the new UK Robot Wars champions. Give it up!
From England, Chaos 2.
Builder George Francis is a Robot Wars veteran. He's got the knowledge and the hardware, 20 miles an hour speeds, a CO2-powered high-pressure flipper, zero turning circle, and the desire to cause chaos.
I'm George, this is Ian, and his son Richard. This is our robot, Chaos 2. We're representing England in the internationals.
And the main features of our robot are a very powerful flipper which can throw robots right up into the air. It's got very powerful motors, it goes very quickly, and it's got high traction.
From the Czech Republic, Kilohertz.
The pickaxe weapon has interchangeable heads. It's the heaviest in the World Championships at 83.1 kilos. Took 5 months and £2,000 to build, but it's high. Can be easily flipped.
Hi, he's Dominic. And he's John. This is our robot, Kilohertz. A nice big powerful axe, even more powerful axe this year. Titanium cutting blade at the front end. And this is our new driver.
We're representing the Czech Republic because I'm half Czech. This is our slogan here. Marš šlupatý pupiček. It actually means you have a hairy tummy button.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, much fancied in the pits, let me tell you. George Francis at the controls there. And Kilohertz with Dominic Parkinson on the right and his rather tenuous links with the Czech Republic. In the interest of international relations, though, he's flying that flag with his hairy tummy button. Interesting, all the facts you know about the Robot Wars competitors, isn't it? I wonder who's got the hairiest tummy button in the Chaos 2 team. One dreads to think. Now, Kilohertz just manoeuvring itself to come in on the attack on Chaos 2. Ooh, that hammer looks very, very punishing. Moving away. And this is very, very active here at the moment now. Kilohertz again to try and manoeuvre to get a run in and then slam that hammer down. Good driving, though, by George Francis, taking Chaos 2 out of danger's way. Out of harm's reach. Well, there's no use slamming the Kilohertz hammer down on the arena floor like some woodpecker maddened with rage. But now Chaos 2 is between Shunt and Kilohertz, and again had to get out of the way of those two mighty axes coming swinging down. There's the Czech team, and Chaos 2 know they're in trouble here. And this isn't the way people in the pits thought this battle would go. Chaos 2 sustaining real damage, look at that! The CO2 canister's been pierced by Shunt. Now that will take any power out of the main weapon of Chaos 2, the high-pressure flip, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Kilohertz also taking damage from Shunt, just controlling itself and getting away. There still seems to be power in the Chaos 2 weapon to me. We'll wait and see. It's in the CPZ. It needs to get out of there now. Oh, and Kilohertz is flipped up on its side. This is amazing stuff. Great stuff. This is the sort of stuff we actually dream about in the Robot Wars team. I know. Frightening, isn't it? Rather spooky and sad, too. And here's Chaos 2 trying to get away from Kilohertz. Kilohertz is on his back. Oh, lovely. Lovely. You can see the belly of Kilohertz. Oh, Kilohertz, the wheels spinning. They're trying to right themselves. They can't. They're out. They're immobilized. It's Chaos 2 and George Francis who go through. The Kilohertz team out from the Czech Republic. Even though, at that point, when the CO2 canister was burst, it seemed that Chaos 2 would be heading out. Has he had enough time to repair the punctured CO2 canister? Razor has that penetrating, honed steel edge to it. George Francis at the controls of Chaos 2.
1. Activate.
This a real crunch. Two robots with a great deal of respect in the pits. Especially Razor for that claw weapon. And Chaos 2 nearly flipping Razor up. Chaos 2 can get up to 20 miles an hour. Is nippy, very manoeuvrable, and George Francis is one of the best controllers in the history of Robot Wars. But Razor already puncturing once again the CO2 gas canister in the main engine compartment of Chaos 2 has gone, and with it has the power of the weapon gone also. That is a mighty weapon. The beak of Razor, the squeeze ability. Is that a tattered ribbon on the side of Chaos 2? A tattered battle flag, a reminder of previous victories. Because that is all they'll be left with, I'm sure now. Memories of victories in the past. This is dead metal and the circular saw and the great scorpion-like pincers at the front. Now they have Chaos 2, and it is a matter of time. Ooh! That is a terrible scar. Well, he's a magnificent driver of a robot, is George Francis. He gets great advice from Ian Swan and young Richard in the team as well, but their future in the Robot Wars World Championship is limited to that. In the pit.
Cease. From St George's in Shropshire, Indefatigable.
And indestructible, they hope, with an aluminium body from an old quarry truck and plastic panels from recycled phone boxes. 2 lifting spikes are powered by electricity, and it can raise speeds of 70 miles an hour.
Our robot is called Indefatigable, and the wheels are from wheelie bins, and the outside is recycled polycarb from telephone boxes, and the inside is aluminium.
This is a main weapon forklift truck, and it can lift 75 kgs, and it's got spears on the end, strap spears.
From Worcester, Atomic.
More scrap aluminium's been used for this shell. Atomic costs around about £1,000 to build. Bulldozer shape with a flipper blade Shremek system, a self-righting mechanism. At 80 kilos, it's the heaviest in the heat.
Hello, I'm Team Captain. This is Paul. This is Dave. This is our robot, Atomic. She's got polycarbonate sides for protection. She's got twin lifting rams. The cylinders run on nitrogen. It runs on 24-volt motors. And we've got a sharp blade here.
From Ipswich, seed #1 and reigning champion, Chaos 2.
Only cost £250 to build the champs. The gas flipper's hugely powerful. The ground clearance is a tiny 1mm. Lawnmower motors used to drive the top seeds. And in the last series of wars, Chaos 2 flipped and forced its way through the heats, immovable, irresistible. Good control, causing damage, neat trim style, steady aggression, steady progress. All challenges welcomed, all dispatched by the team members, George Francis, Ian Swan and his son Richard. Now celebrities back in Ipswich, and here once again with a Suffolk punch.
Hi, we're back. We won the last war. We've changed nothing on the robot.
Well, the only thing we've changed is my beard in a desperate attempt to look younger.
Roboteers, stand by.
The first battlers of the new wars. Indefatigable, Brian Oliver at the controls, Richard Pittman and Daniel Lloyd. Atomic, Stephen Bebb, David Bebb and Paul Francis. And the reigning champions, Chaos 2. As ever, George Francis at the controls, Ian and Richard Swan with him.
2, 1, activate.
And Chaos 2 quickly out of the traps, as ever on the attack under George Francis. Taking on Atomic. That gas-powered flipper, so powerful. Atomic bravely spinning against the reigning champions. Zero turning circle, in he comes again, George Francis on the attack. Taking on Indefatigable first of all. The new boys clash together, in goes Chaos 2, and up goes Atomic on its side. The sparks rain from the grinding blades at the side of the arena. An added obstacle to the robots, but any obstacle can be overcome. And the Shremek system bringing Atomic back into it, but Indefatigable now up at his side, and they have no self-righting mechanism, and Indefatigable out of the competition. Now Chaos 2 taking on Atomic once again. This is needless. Both of them are through, but George Francis loves to create some metallic mayhem. Oh yes, I am the boss of the arena. Do not take me on. I am a champion. I'll have you later on in the series, and this is what I can do to you. Don't ever, ever forget it, says George Francis. Up goes Atomic, and in the background, Indefatigable is a plaything for the sergeant. Burned and charcoaled and sadly out. Indefatigable? Yeah. Invincible? Yeah. Invisible, more like. Sergeant bashed, and there goes Indefatigable. Inflammable? Hardly. And Chaos 2, another nudge. Can't gain anything from this George Francis except sheer delight. Oh, out goes Indefatigable. Not in the arena anymore. Indefatigable. Over and out. Look at this. Bounce, bounce, bonk. Oh, at least they're friends up there in the driving pods.
Roboteers, stand by.
Sir Killalot ominously looks on. Medusa 2000, Don Weir at the controls, a computer engineer. And Chaos 2, George Francis, self-employed electronics engineer at the controls
3,
as ever.
2, 1, activate.
Immediately Chaos 2 trying to get in underneath Medusa 2000. It has a 5-centimetre ground clearance, Medusa. It may not seem a lot to you or I. Oh, but in Robot Wars, it's a chasm. Chaos 2 immediately driving in underneath Medusa 2000 on the back foot already, and very nearly out of the arena. Chaos 2 here, hell-bent on demonic destruction. Medusa 2000, all credit on the attack, but on its side also the wheels spinning but going nowhere. Flashes back to the arena floor, can start again then. Chaos 2 buffeting, turning.
And again against the arena wall, and very nearly up and out again. Medusa 2000 hopelessly outclassed at this level. Dead Metal on the attack as well. George Francis at the controls. Medusa 2000 going very near Sergeant Bash, and in trouble backing onto Sergeant Bash's claws. Oh, and having its axle bent and buckled. The front-mounted pincers of Sergeant Bash crumpling there. And Medusa 2000 can have no complaints. Tom Weir drove it backwards onto the pincers of Sergeant Bash, and there's nowhere to go now. In comes Chaos 2 again, and over goes the arena flipper. Medusa 2000 hobbling around the floor. They may smile, but they know the end is nigh. Dead Metal and Sergeant Bash in the pit, they're calling. I think he should be retired, so to speak, from the arena, that is. Killalot. A lofty climb before the plummet to doom and extinction for Medusa 2000.
From Ipswich, seed number 1 and reigning champions, the Chaos 2 team. From Worcester, Atomic.
Into the arena come our gladiators. George Francis, an amateur physicist at the controls of Chaos 2. Stephen Beber, farmer with Atomic. And this is how Chaos 2 got to this stage. Had a fight at Atomic earlier on, but then disposed of Indefatigable. And finally, getting rid. Then it was on to Medusa. No great worries there. Onto the arena floor flipper. Having survived the battle with Chaos 2 Atomic, and in the head-to-head, got rid of the seeded King B3. Now this was a worthy victory. King B3 immobilised, and the pit.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Atomic, certainly bumped and bruised. Steve and David Bebb, Paul Francis and Chaos 2. There's George Francis, Ian Swan, Richard Swan with him. And Richard Swan, a pupil at Castle Hill Junior School. We'll have to go back to the schoolroom and tell tales of victory. And already Chaos 2 on the attack. Thrusting and throwing Atomic. And again. And again. Roly-poly. And what can the Bebbs and Paul Francis do about that? Atomic has nowhere to go. The top speed is 15 miles an hour. The current speed is about -10. Going nowhere fast. Going out of the arena imminently. If Chaos 2 can use that flipper properly, can get a run-up, well, it's all over, isn't it? Atomic's finished. It's now just a question whether it lasts in the arena. In towards Killalot's blinking, deadly eyes. Killalot comes out and has a go at Chaos 2, I think. Needs to stay out of trouble, George Francis. And now, of course, the mere bauble and plaything of Killalot is Atomic. Goodness me, look at that. Just slicing through metal. It's grisly to what? Ooh, crumpling. I was going to say creasing, but it's sort of folding, destroying, buckling. Absolutely wrecking. Imagine all the work that goes into that over the months. We'll plan it like this, we'll put that strut here, we'll do that, put the engine here, and then Killalot comes in and says, well, I'll just mash you up completely. Onto the flipper, 1, 2, 3! And in comes Chaos 2 again. Chaos 2, to me, seems stronger than ever before, speedier than ever before, and deadlier than ever before. Dan King at the controls.
1.
Interesting to see whether or not Steg 2's power has been repaired. It is vital to them. Strengthened for this series of Robot Wars. Tries a flip. And Chaos 2 gets immediately in underneath Steg 2 and in 8mm ground clearance to attack. And Chaos 2 found that gap. And already we've seen the power of George Francis's flipper there. Chaos 2 tries to reply. We've seen the danger already of the reigning champions. There he is at the controls, an amateur physicist. He loves his astronomy, loves his photography, and takes a snapshot of Chaos 2 in trouble. Only momentarily, though, because it has the Shremec so vital, invaluable for Robot Wars, a self-righting mechanism. And on the attack on Steg 2 again, pushing against the arena wall. Down comes Steg 2. Great battle, this. Flip and a flop. A hop, skip and a jump battle in the series semi-final. The first of our semi-finals in Steg 2. Just dragged into that CPZ, the corner patrol zone. Don't forget, the house robots can then come out and attack. You're knocked into the CPZ. Steg 2 on its side now. And that's the vulnerability of a Shremec. If you're topsy-turvy, you can use it. But once you're on your side, can the Steg 2 team, Rob Heisman, Dan King and Peter Rowe now right Steg 2? I don't think so. I think it's all over for Steg 2 after a very good opening few moments to this battle. Flipped up by the arena flipper there. It rolled 2 or 3 meters, tries to right itself, can't. Oh, all over for Steg 2. And they started so promisingly.
From Ipswich, seed number 1 and reigning champion, Chaos 2.
Can anyone stop the reigning champions, George Francis?
From Huntington, Tornado.
Will it be these boys? There's Andrew at the controls, David Gamble and Brian Moss with him. And they have their fan club. Don't forget, the winners of this go through to the series final.
3, 2, 1.
Chaos 2 will be the more aggressive. Trying to burn out Tornado's batteries or motors. Trying to flip Tornado constantly. Tornado, not surprisingly, trying to stay out of trouble. Gets a jet of flame from Sergeant Bash and its CPZ. Again, the quality of the robots, I think, in this series semi-final can be seen by the fact that the house robots haven't been called into play that often. This is Chaos 2 trying to flip Tornado out of the arena and succeeding! That's what he lives for, George Francis. And again, he's pulled it off. Look at this. In underneath. If you don't first succeed, try again. Out go Tornado in style. Blown out of the arena. What a way to go out.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's the Stinger from Lincoln. Tim Mann there on the left had the boast of victory. Al Skinner and Kevin Scott, his teammates, Chaos 2, with George Francis ever ready at the controls, Ian and Richard Swan, with Richard just 9 years of age. For a place in the grand final against Pussycat. Chaos 2 lining up the flipper immediately to get in underneath the back axle of Stinger. But that won't worry Stinger. But bounce, spin and come down. Look at the bounce of those customised motorbike wheels. Little damage. You have to get Stinger towards the arena wall, Chaos 2, and get him out of the arena. And also dodge that swinging pendulum axe type mace. Bang and crash. Bash! There's George Francis at the controls of Chaos 2. Little Richard from Castle Hill Junior School alongside him, and another attack on Stinger. The flipper rises, settles into its mounting. Chaos 2 hops and skips. A little bit of a jump, turns. Stinger also spins. Oh, and there's the power of the weapon. Did you see crashing on the side there of Chaos 2? At the moment, though, polycarbonate and aluminium strong enough, but they've got into a CPZ. That's tough. And I think they might have sustained damage. Have a look at this again. As they go into Stinger here, look, the backplate comes off. That's what Kevin Scott said he'd do. Knock the backplate off, and George Francis now knows that the very innards of Chaos 2 are vulnerable and exposed. They went into the CPZ, which wasn't good control, and also they've left themselves now vulnerable to attack. Surely not another major surprise here of both the favourites, the seeds, to crash out. Chaos 2 has a lot of work to do, because if this goes to the judges, they will mark on damage, style, control and aggression, and Stinger, very aggressive. Of course the damage. Chaos 2 needs to get in under and have a couple of flips.
Again, I wonder how many machines in future wars will copycat the design of Stinger. Chaos 2 has bashed it into the CPZ, and now Dead Metal all momentarily had Stinger in its claws. Away goes Stinger. Look at this. This is a good drive here by Chaos 2. Digging in deep. Stinger flicked up into the CPZ. Dead Metal had control. Chaos 2 tried to roll them both out of the arena. And Stinger dug deep with the mace itself. Lives to fight again. Spin Stinger. This is going to be close. I just wonder whether that damage you can see there could be telling as it goes to the judges to decide who leads Pussycat in the grand final of Robot Wars.
Well. What a fantastic battle. Of course, it's going to go to our judges. I wouldn't want to make the decision.
Very tight, wasn't it, Craig? We don't have to make the decision. These boffins do. I can't call it. Chaos 2 starting strongly. Aggressive. Point score. But then sustaining damage there. Stinger suddenly on top. Only for Chaos 2 to finish the stronger. This is very, very close.
You've never had a judge's decision before with your robot, have you?
Very nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking, isn't it? Very tense, sweaty palms. Are you nervous? The judges went with aggression, both you equal. Style, both you equal. Damage, both you equal. On quality of control, the judges have gone for Chaos 2! Valiant effort.
It was a tough call.
It was a tough call. The judges took ages making up their minds. But you've done it ever so well. You got so far. Your robot, I thought, was virtually unbeatable unless you could get it out of the ring. And that's what Chaos 2 was trying to do, but it couldn't achieve it. And you're quite tenacious.
We wiggled, we struggled.
You're a slippery set of customers. Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, it's been fantastic.
You're not too disappointed?
We did it for all the roboteers, all the engineers, all the modellers in Lincoln. Lincoln!
There you go. Big up the Lincoln posse. Well, you're not going to get to face Pussycat in the final, but you've done very well getting this far. For the Stinger posse!
Close. Don't get much closer than that.
In the 2 wars you've had, you've never had a judge's decision before. That's how sort of awesome your robot's been. But that one was down to the wire, wasn't it?
Medal match there, yeah.
What about Pussycat then?
It's going to be another close one. It really is.
It's a big robot. It's got a really vicious blade on it as well.
Yeah. Again, it works both ways up.
What do you think, young man?
I didn't really expect us to come this far.
You didn't really expect to come this far this time?
No. We
Well,
got
as I
there.
said, no champion's ever retained his championship. You're one fight away from Robo Glory. Let's hear it for Chaos 2!
From Ipswich, seed number 1 and reigning champion, Chaos 2.
Can they become the first to successfully defend the title? George Francis on the left, Ian Swan on the right with son Richard.
From Gloucester, seed number 19, Pussycat.
The challengers, brainchild of Robin Herrick there in the middle, Alan Gribble on the right and son David on the left.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Two of the best drivers in Robot Wars history, young David, and of course George Francis, Pussycat with the blade, Chaos 2 with the flipper, even Stephen so far. Pussycat manoeuvres to come in on an attack, no dodges. There's David Gribble at the controls on the right, a student. Wants to work in special effects, and the effect of Chaos 2's flipper is to lift Pussycat up and over once and twice. Tumbles onto its side. Rights itself. Aggressive work here from Chaos 2. Learning its lesson from a nervy battle against Stinger. Again on the attack, flipping Pussycat up and over. Chaos 2 could be on the way here to defending the Robot Wars Grand title. Pussycat upended, comes smashing down again. You can see the damage it's causing to the arena floor there. Look at the sawdust everywhere on the arena floor. In underneath, Pussycat again on its side. Chaos, theory, no fact, says one of the banners. Chaos 2, oh, suddenly gets wedged there on our own arena floor flipper. This is the ref cam on the ref bot. just judging to see if there's any foul play. At the moment, though, it's the kitty cat on the attack. What on earth was that came off? Look at this, something went very high. It was off the back of Chaos 2. I think it was only superficial. It was. Chaos 2 in underneath Pussycat. Chaos 2 has had a bumping though and a bruising. George Francis tentative at the controls. And it's Pussycat now on the upper and certainly finishing this stronger. I wonder if that was damage then to Chaos 2, because it certainly seems to have lost a little bit of its manoeuvrability, its speed across the arena floor, and I think Chaos 2 is damaged here. Pussycat's on its side, both of them limping, war-weary veterans of battle after battle after battle scar. There is something wrong with Pussycat's blade. It is not working. That's why they can't really right themselves as quickly as they have been before. Chaos 2, one last full frontal assault. Now senses victory is nigh. Oh, and very nearly got Pussycat up and out of the arena. Look at that. It would have been the third time in these wars that Chaos 2 has lifted an opponent up and clear away out of the arena. Also smashed into one of our cameras, as we heard earlier, and now pushes Pussycat into the CPZ. Chaos 2 will have to get away from Shunt. Do or die there, wasn't it really? It's death or glory for these two now. Pussycat, the weapon immobilised. George Francis, has he won it? Or has it gone to the Pussycat boys? Up in their control pod. Robin Herrick there in the middle, Alan and David Gribble, unaware of their fate. It's gone to the judges.
What a fantastic battle, worthy of a Robot Wars Grand Final. Let's have a look at some of the highlights.
After so many battles, it comes to this. Chaos 2 on the offensive, tossing Pussycat around the arena floor. But then Pussycat came back and caused superficial damage to Chaos 2 before finally having its blade immobilised. The title, it comes down to this.
Judges have scored this on style, control, damage and aggression. Chaos 2 have won on all points. Chaos 2 are the Robot Wars Grand Champion! Guys, you've done tremendously well. Tremendously well. You made it to the finals of Robot Wars.
I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that?
Yeah.
And you're going to come back next time?
We'll be back next time.
You're going to try and go one better, aren't you?
They'll be ours.
Let's hear for the Pussycat Posse! All it needs now is for Jules to present the award. Our Robot Wars Grand Finalists, Chaos 2!
From Lincoln, seed number 30, Stinger.
They had steering problems in Series 3, went straight into a pit after 50 seconds. This is a spinning, whirling dervish with a venomous axe, customised motorbike wheels, a top speed of 18 miles an hour, and it's seeded 30. Very quick across the arena floor, but when the wheels stop, the axe comes down with mighty power. Virtually indestructible, difficult to get hold of. Difficult to steer, yes, but when it spins, look at the power of that axe once again. Watch out for Stinger. This one's going to go very close in the Annihilator.
This is Carl Skinner and I'm Kevin Scott from the Stinger team. We've got a really strong robot here, but we're up against 6 of the toughest robots in the series. We're going to go in there, we're going to give them hell, and we're going to kill them.
From Huntington, Dominator 2.
The motto of this team is ram it, hit it, push it. 2 industrial motors generating up to 20 miles an hour. Pneumatic axe is the weapon, a plasma nitride coated titanium shell. Now you know. A unique bi-wedge shape, speed across the arena floor, good control as well, manoeuvrability, and then you've got that pneumatic axe slamming down. Certainly too strong for shadow of napalm there. Dominator 2, a zero turning circle, can spin the rest into oblivion.
Hi, welcome to the Dominator team. I'm Pete, the captain. We've got Paul, weapons man, Chris, the auxiliary man. Paul's now going to tell you a bit about the robot.
Right, this is Dominator 2. Plasma nitride coated titanium shell, 1.8mm thick, nothing goes through it. 150 psi, pneumatic axe, axes its way through all 5 competitors in this Annihilator round.
From Oxford, seeded number 16, Kilohertz.
The hardened steel blade and pneumatic axe have proved too much for too many in the past. 2 motors, wheels from go-karts. Can the killer hurt once again?
We're just about to go into a big fight, 5 robots. I come from a family of 5, so I think I'm used to fighting for every bit of food on the table. I think we'll survive.
Looking forward to using our new improved axe. Poke a few holes in people. Should be fun.
From Derby, seeded number 31, Suicidal Tendencies.
Seeded because the Tendencies has a dangerous toothpick axe and front fork lifter. The shell is bulletproof, it runs on tracks of aluminium. Is it on track for success here, though? Heavy, powerful, tenacious. 2 1400-watt motors. Those tracks give it drive and punishing penetration, as Maverick and Wheelosaurus found out.
Hi, I'm Charles Binns, this is Andrew Jeffrey, and this is Suicidal Tendencies. We're going into a battle with 6 robots soon. We've got a big axe, going to take some chunks out of people, some big lifters at the front, titanium, track, very powerful. Somebody's going to get hurt in there, and hopefully it's not going to be us, and we're going to win, and we're going to survive.
From Manchester, Spikosaurus.
A spiky character indeed, with its 2 12-inch prongs of high tensile steel and an interchangeable ramming bar, can pull a car, can race 17 miles an hour, but can it take punishment?
Hi, we're Team Spikosaurus. I'm Stuart, my brother Andrew, friend Andrea. This is the most awesome robot in Annihilator today. We've got roll bars, so if we do get tipped up, we can roll straight back over. We've got 2 awesome spikes on the front. They will just pierce through any armour and damage all sorts of weaponry inside. And we're just going to kick some robot butt.
From Ipswich, seed number 1 and reigning champion, Chaos 2.
Finalists in Series 1, overall winner of Series 3. The gas-powered flipper is one of the strongest weapons we've ever seen. Top seeds for the main competition here, it'll create Chaos 2. And at the controls of Chaos 2, George Francis, a self-employed electronics engineer and a Robot Wars legend. Crocodilotron, Sonic, Big Cheese, Trident, Mace, Firestorm, Hypnodisc. It didn't matter who was against it in the last series. Have a look at this for power against the Firestorm. Over, and out you go. That's Chaos 2. That's the power. Not even Hypnodisc could stop it.
Hi, we're Chaos 2 team, hoping to flip our way through the Annihilator round. I'm George, this is Ian, and his son Richard.
Main features of our robot are very good traction and an extremely powerful flipper. That's why we're the number 1 seed.
Roboteers, stand by.
Plenty of opposition, though, from Suicidal Tendencies and Spikosaurus there. And Stinger, of course. All 3 teams together in the one cabin. Suicidal Tendencies on the left. There's big Stuart Pearson of Spikosaurus and Carl Skinner of Stinger. Dominator 2, the Cambridgeshire team. They all work together. And Kilohertz, the reigning domestic champions, Chaos 2. There's George Francis on the right-hand side. Kilohertz in the middle. Dominator 2 on the left.
3, 2, 1.
This is going to be chaos. Good luck, everyone. There's Chaos 2 immediately on the attack. Dominator 2 in there as well with a big action. Dominator 2 flicked up on its side by Suicidal Tendencies. Suicidal Tendencies nearly went over at the same time. Let's have a look at it again. Chaos 2 in the midst of it all. Up went Dominator 2 and over. Suicidal Tendencies very nearly flicked up, but don't forget, it can work both sides up the track. Suicidal Tendencies, there's Kilohertz with its axe as well. You can see Bash retreating into its CPZ, and why not? Stinger with the axe in there as well. Chaos 2 with the CO2-powered battering ram. Dominator 2's okay. Oh, there's the reigning champions, Chaos 2, slamming in on Suicidal Tendencies. Kilohertz is in there as well. Here comes Dominator 2, bottom of your picture. Now it seems to me that Spikosaurus is in a little bit of trouble, but okay now. Goodness me, look at that. There's Spikosaurus in there. You've got Chaos 2 as well. Dominator 2, the bottom of your picture. Stinger doing its own thing as it's wont to do. That's Spikosaurus in major trouble. Seems to me that Kilohertz is holding on. Tendencies comes in. Stinger now under threat from Chaos 2. Turning away. And Spikosaurus has been impaled by the axe of Kilohertz. Kilohertz 2! Flicked over by Dominator 2. Axe to axe. Metal to metal. Bash and crash. Smash. What is happening out there? The home hopes and dreams about to be scuttled have won in the Annihilator. It's Kilohertz up on its side and bounce. And just about came down okay, using its axe to right itself. Almost Kilohertz, then in goes Spikosaurus. Kilohertz, okay now, Stinger in with a slam on Chaos 2. Chaos 2 in underneath Kilohertz again. They think Kilohertz is the vulnerable machine. Chaos 2 against the arena wall and is impaled, is it? Can George Francis get that flipper off? Well, Dominator 2, a little nudge helped out. The object, boys, is to destroy each other. I wonder if Dominator 2 will rue that little bit of friendship. Look at the crashing of the axes. The flipper there. You've got suicidal tendencies trundling. Once again, Kilohertz trying to right itself into the CPZ, flicked in there by Chaos 2. And so far for me, Kilohertz has been the most punished robot. It's into the CPZ, it's stuck in there. And Kilohertz trying to flick, trying to turn itself over with that pneumatically powered axe. But Kilohertz in major trouble. Chaos 2 comes in with a slam. And bam! And Kilohertz 2, I think, is going to be first to go in the Annihilator. Each round, one crashes out, piggyback up on Chaos 2 as it immobilized for 30 seconds or more. If it goes to the judges, the rest of them just staying out of trouble. Bash comes in for a look. There's Dominator 2 with the pickaxe. This Stinger loves a little bit of a rumble, the tussle. Sometimes I don't know what the Stinger boys are doing. I don't think they know what they're doing either. Dominator 2 out there, Chaos 2 as well. Kilohertz, well, back in the thick of the action. And we still have all 6 competing. Chaos 2 takes punishment right through the front flipper there from Dominator 2. The wheels of the Dominator spin, but Chaos 2 is in all sorts of problems now. Top of the picture, Spikosaurus. And Suicidal Tendency, in comes Dominator again. And suddenly it's the Chaos top seeds, the reigning UK champions, who are up against it. Now we've got to push and shove. At top of the picture, they've Dominator 2 and Spikosaurus. Kilohertz, I thought they were out, but they're back in really in the thick of things. So are Chaos 2 now. You've got the house robots into play in that CPZ. Look at this, a real tug of war here, and still they battle on bravely. Not one machine will give up, but Chaos 2 has taken unprecedented damage from the axe of Kilohertz. Look at this again, it's Dominator 2 inflicting punishment, 1 and 2, and the Perspex comes off the bat there of Chaos 2, which means now, of course, the machinery, the very heart of Chaos, is vulnerable to attack. Dominator 2 lifts that Perspex lid up like some grisly scalp trophy. Chaos 2, they're all after the reigning UK champions, it seems. They're ganging up. Get rid of the strongest machine, get rid of the favourite. We'll gang up and we'll see who goes through. Dominator 2 in space, about to come in for an attack, but Chaos 2. George Francis, I don't think he knows what's hit him. You've now got Shunt in there to create more damage. Stinger, the axe comes battering down on Shunt, but it's Chaos 2. All of a sudden, the likely machine to go out of the first stage of the Great Annihilator, the northern section. In goes Spikosaurus to try and push Suicidal Tendencies out of the melee, out of the mayhem. Chaos 2 is their movement, is their life. Goodness me, I don't think there was. He doesn't either. Well, massively important axes and Sremex self-righting mechanisms in this to create damage and also to right yourself like Kilohertz there. For one moment I thought Kilohertz were going out, but no, they survived. Now, key issue here for me, Chaos did not have enough freedom of the arena to build up an attack, to build up speed, to get the flipper into play, and then it took unprecedented damage. Look at that. Absolutely punctured and peppered and destroyed Chaos 2. A huge surprise. Out goes George Francis. Out go the favourites in many people's eyes. But look who's left. Spikosaurus, Kilohertz, Stinger, Dominator 2, they look dangerous. And Suicidal Tendencies, of course.
Bradford, Ipswich, Chaos 2.
The pneumatic flipper powered by a fire extinguisher can throw virtually anything, but what happens if the CO2 runs out? A chaos theory, chaos fact, they're unbeaten with this robot.
Hi, we're Chaos 2 team. This is Richard and Ian, and I'm George. And if you know anything at all about Robot Wars, you already know who we are.
From Belmont in Hereford, Exterminator.
This Silver Dream machine has an axe, a Streamex operating mechanism, aluminium shell, 25 miles an hour top speeds, but we've noticed steering problems for the heavyweight of this tussle.
Hi, I'm Marlon Pritchard, this is Simon Mulwin, and Paul Lewis has gone AWOL. This is our Robot Exterminator, with the improved axe this year that's going to knock holes in just about everything we meet.
And for the first time in this series, we've placed in the war zone Shunt, a worry for opponents, the phenomenal pushing power, and Matilda, and a worry for us and you and everyone. She has no self-control whatsoever.
Roboteers, stand by.
Rarely chaotic. George Francis at the controls of Chaos 2 and Marlon Pritchard with Exterminator.
2, 1.
Style of Chaos 2 to go straight onto the attack, and it's done so again! Slamming into Exterminator, that is 99 kilos of robot! Chaos 2 has just tossed simply into the air. Look at this! Bang! Slam! Exterminator can right itself, thankfully, using the side prods there, and also the axe weaponry. Chaos 2, another little flip, using the fire extinguisher powered CO2 flipper, which seems to me to be in some trouble now. Can they close that flipper down? George Francis frantically trying. I don't think he can. I think it's stuck. An Exterminator has sensed something is wrong here with the all-powerful Chaos 2. And the axe weapon of Exterminator has got a hold on Chaos 2. And George Francis basically here, well, basically, as Robot Wars Tactics will tell you, is running away. That's what he's doing. George Francis, he comes back on the attack, and he knows he's got to stay out of trouble. I think the weapon... No, it's not. It's not in position. Now is it, I wonder? It's come down, but the Exterminator boys know they've got a real chance here. Chaos 2 flipping Exterminator over again in fine style, so the weapon's okay now. It did jam. Is it jammed again? The crowd know where they want Exterminator to go. This is Shunt with the bulldozer. I wonder if Exterminator here is immobilised. Shunt pushing this giant of a robot across the war zone floor. The ref bot having a check. Exterminator, what a bright start, and Chaos 2 was wobbling, it was on the ropes, but I think Exterminator is counted out. What a shame. Matilda can come and have some fun, and Shunt as well. Well, it doesn't matter that it's self-righted now because it has been counted out by the ref bot. The contest is over. Chaos 2, just to add insult to injury, has flipped Exterminator into the flywheel of Matilda. Look at this. And look at the pieces literally being ripped away from the frame of Exterminator there. Torn apart. The aluminium shell of Exterminator. They know they're a beaten team. He was worried, George Francis, let me tell you.
Exterminator immobilised, given the red card by Refbot. Exterminator, exterminated. Chaos 2 go through.
2 times winners of the British Championship. You never seem to lose a fight.
Well, nearly lost that one. Something wrong with the exhaust valve there. The flipper got stuck up.
You are the All-Stars All-Star at the moment. You can go all the way in this competition.
I have to see. Got to fix it first.
I've never, ever seen you lose a fight yet. Well, congratulations. You're through to the next round. Let's hear it for Chaos 2!
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, the reigning British robot champion, with George Francis, Ian Swan and his son Richard, the teammates. And Wheelie Big Cheese, another superb competitor. It's Roger Plant's creation. Big Murray Wharf with him there. Just to make things spicier, we've thrown in 2 house robots, Dead Metal with the pincer and the saw, and alongside him, Shunt with the diamond-edged axe, the scoop, and the great pushing power. This should be a thriller. Immediately Chaos 2, bumping underneath Wheelie Big Cheese. goes for another run. Chaos 2 to try and get in under Wheelie Big Cheese. Simply bounces away. The ground clearance of Chaos 2, 0.01 of a centimetre, very low. But Wheelie Big Cheese needs to get on the attack, try and get in underneath. And at the moment, it's Chaos 2 and George Francis, the reigning British champions, won the last 2 series of Robot Wars in the main event, doing all the attacking work here. Again, just tossing Wheelie Big Cheese up in the air. I think that's easy to do. The cheese weighs 99 kilograms. Just think about that. It's 1 metre 32 long. It's nearly a metre wide. It's huge. And in come the house robots now. Shunt and Dead Metal pushing away. The hydraulically powered lifting flipper again opens and closes. Wheelie Big Cheese like a great bird's beak. Chaos 2 underneath that beak. For me, George Francis is on top in this battle. The cheese backing away. See the studs, the spikes on the wheels there to give extra traction, but you can't get traction if you're being thrown through the air rod, you plant. Now they can nudge back on Chaos 2. Close encounters of the robot kind. This is tight, isn't it? But I think so far Chaos 2 are on top. A place in the All-Star semi-finals at stake, and we're into the last 10 seconds, so it could well go to a judge's decision. They'll decide on style, control, damage and aggression any second now. It'll go to the judges. Competitive, but I thought they were both a little nervy.
A very inconclusive fight. We're going to have to ask the judges on that one. Well, they're making up their minds. Let's have a look at the highlights of that battle.
Well, Chaos 2 are certainly the early aggressors, but they didn't cause great damage. Wheelie Big Cheese, very solid, bouncing down, backing on to Chaos 2. Not great style and control there then, nor from Chaos. Opened itself up for an attack. Chaos 2 the more aggressive. That might just swing it. Might.
And the judges have made their decision. It's unanimous. They've gone for the 2-time British champions, Chaos 2!
Volunteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, reigning British champion with George Francis at the controls. Thumbs up from him, Ian and Richard Swan there with him. And Tornado, driven by Andrew Marchant, robot foreman David Gamble, the weapon operator Brian Moss. Our house robots, Dead Metal in the arena there. And fighting our cause, the bull-nosed, lion-hearted Shunt.
3, 2, 1.
Tornado on the right, Chaos on the left-hand side. Oh! Chaos 2 has flipped itself! Up and over! Well, they came in there with an attack that was too premature and not judged. A rare mistake by George Francis, and Shunt is out after the kill, and Tornado senses that perhaps an upset victory could be on the cards here and a place in the All-Stars final. Tornado has his fan club. I must admit, I've been a growing fan here on the evidence of what we've seen in Extreme so far. And George Francis on the back foot throughout this semi-final because of that early mistake. They came in, they mistimed the flipper, and all of a sudden, he's got work to do here to gain points back if it should go to a judges. Is that flipper stuck open now? We've seen it before. When it gets stuck, there could be problems. No, I think they're okay. But Tornado once again doing the pushing, and don't forget, this time around, Tornado has that blade in front, that circular drum saw. Chaos 2 with a great flip. Tornado's up and over. It's invertible, coming on both ways up. Driving Chaos 2 back into the CPZ again. In comes Dead Metal with the pincers. It's got Chaos 2 in its grip. Chaos 2 trying to flip and get out of that CPZ. Tremendous battle. Down comes the saw here of Dead Metal. Onto the flipper of Chaos 2. A concerted effort by Tornado to get in underneath there. Look, trying to rip the heart out of Chaos 2. Staying out of the way of Dead Metal and also shut the red foot. You just saw having a glance. Chaos 2 in real trouble here. Could this be a first ever defeat for Chaos 2? This version of George Francis's veteran machine trying to get it away and out of danger. Tornado on the attack. They can sense victory here. They're after Chaos 2. Hunting, harrying, chasing into the CPZ. Good tactics there by Tornado. Oh, Dead Metal's got the wrong one. I don't think he should have been able to do that because Chaos 2 was forced into the
the CPZ by Tornado. Dead Metal got the wrong robot. They should have attacked Chaos 2. Well, that is very interesting because the whole tide could be turned now with Tornado up on its side. The ref bot is going in to have a look and see what he can do. And Tornado unfairly pinned onto the arena sidewall. This is not right. Shunt is going in there and having a go at Tornado. Very much on top here. The ref bot, quite rightly, seeing what he can do here. Almost to right Tornado, I would have said. And right or wrong, it was a wrong. And that's quite correct. Well done, the referee. And Tornado back in play. Ooh, they don't like that, but it's correct. It was a good decision. Chaos 2, though, senses perhaps it could have turned things round here. There was the flip on Tornado. Look at the depth of the scratches. The damage caused to Chaos 2. I don't think George Francis has ever been in a battle like this. Tornado on the drive again. They've recovered their senses. In underneath. Piggyback for Chaos 2. Against the arena wall. They're up on top of Tornado now. It is relentless, Tornado. It drives, turns, drives again. Push, shove, brilliant stuff. It'll go to the judges. He's a worried man. Tornado, have they won it? Goodness me, what a performance. Let's have a look at it again. Chaos 2, mistiming the initial onslaught. Tornado immediately on the counter-attack. That was the story of the early stages. All Tornado. The occasional flip by Chaos 2. Then Tornado pushed Chaos into the CPZ. Good style and control. Chaos 2 got out, was pushed back in again, but Dead Metal then wrongly attacked Tornado, and I wonder if that took the impetus out of Tornado from then on in, and it made the fight more close than it might perhaps have been. This is going to be a very close decision for the judges.
Well, the judges have made their decision. Remember, they're looking at style, control, damage, and aggression. This one's a turn up for the books. They've gone for Tornado! Come out here, guys. What an absolutely amazing fight. Isn't that a powerful robot?
Brilliant, really good, yeah.
I tell you what, you sustained a lot of your damage, though, after Tornado had been stuck up on the rails for a while.
Oh, yes, if those house robots had been out of the way, I'd have put him over the fence. But...
Yeah, but what the judges have said was because Tornado pushed you into the CPZ, and then the robot started attacking them, which wasn't really fair.
Yeah.
So then they got back on their wheels again.
All got a bit mixed up in there, didn't it?
Oh, it was a melee.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
What? No problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sure we'll see you again, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Cheer. Hey, raise the roof for Chaos 2! Yes! Yes! What engine have you got in there? Must be the engine of a Ferrari or something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's got a lot of power.
I mean, that is an awesome robot you've just beaten.
Yeah, but they beat us before, so that's revenge for us.
It is revenge, isn't it? I mean, what did you think when you were drawn against them? Did you think you stood a chance?
We wanted to fight them. We wanted to prove that we could beat them, and we've just done it.
You came out of the starting blocks, bang! It was so explosive. And for the first minute or so, you just kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And then he got his flipper working and turned you over a few times, and I thought, oh, Chaos 2's coming back in it. But guys...
We had that power last year, and this year we came back with a weapon to go with it, so...
You're taking on Razornex, the world champions. How'd you feel about that one?
That's going to be a good one.
We've taken out number 2, number 1 from Series 4. Now we go for the world champions.
Let's hear it for Tornado! Well...
From Bramford, Ipswich, Chaos 2.
Taking up the challenge of 2 against 1, the winner of Series 4, the winners of Series 3. Bigger rams than before, they kick harder, the flipper has more push and power, truly chaotic.
From Holland, Alien Disruptor.
They say the top has the shape of a woman's back. Strange woman, the tail's made of spring steel blades with a harpoon point, inspired by the film Alien.
From Belgium, Philippa.
Looks like a beastly silver fish with a lifting nose and tail. 24 volts give the power, just under the 100 kilo weight limit. The robot of Philippe Poppe and Nancy Poppe.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Low Countries competitors, Alien Destructor from Holland and Philippa
from Belgium. Kees Seeking and Frank Laan, the Dutch team. And Philippe Nancy and Sam Poppe from Belgium. And Chaos 2 with George Francis, the reigning British champion. And of course they competed against 2 house robots, Shunt with the piercing axe and the bulldozer ram, and Dead Metal with the scorpion pincers. The ref bot shows the green light, and Chaos 2 immediately does battle with Philippa. Oh, and tosses 99.9 kilos straight into the air. Alien Destructor spinning in the background. Philippa comes back on the attack. Chaos 2 looking to raise that CO2-powered pneumatic flipper, and again taking on Philippa. Taking on one at a time here. Chaos 2, great frontal assault. Look at that for power. And the silverfish goes swimming in the big pool of Robot Wars Extreme against the big fish. Chaos 2, a shark amongst robots. But the Alien Destructor is a reminder of what the Netherlands can do. There goes Philippa. And also the Alien Destructor, which can run either way up. Bottom has the same shape as a skeleton. What's Dead Metal doing in there? Shouldn't really come in at that stage, I wouldn't have thought. Ref bot, have a word. Chaos 2 being nudged around by Philippa. Maybe Dead Metal there is just saying, hang on, 2 against 1, I'll even up the score. But George Francis and Chaos 2, I don't think will probably need any help. There goes Philippa. Look at the great gash underneath there in Philippa. A huge, great ravine cut out of the bottom of Philippa. There's bits of metal all over the arena floor now. Chaos 2, just beyond the great steam vent. That's Philippa turned turtle. Bent and crumpled. Alien Destructor seems almost welded on there. Philippa, well, that's what Nancy Poppe wanted to show. The Sreemec, the self-riding mechanism, but the ref bot is counting out here. The Belgian machine. They're immobilised. There's the red card. So the Poppes are popped off and away and out of this international crunch match, leaving just the Alien Destructor and Philippa to be destroyed. But for me, Chaos 2, the winner's there.
What a brilliant battle. Philippa counted out. Alien Destructor and Chaos 2 going to the judges. Hey, let's see some highlights.
Well, Chaos 2 flipping Philippa and the Alien Destructor and gaining points for aggression, style, control and damage caused, of course. And again, the Alien went over. That's why I give it to Chaos 2. Look at the power on the assault against Philippa.
Well, the judges have made their decision. And they've gone for Chaos 2! Well, you wanted to have a go because Chaos 2 is probably Britain's most favourite robot. Was it good in the arena?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
When you're in there against him, he's fairly scary, isn't he?
Yes.
Powerful flipper. You're not wrong. How did you think you'd cope with it? What were your tactics? And how come you lost?
My tactics were to banging.
Yeah.
I lost because he has much more experience.
It's true.
It's true.
He's a very experienced roboteer.
Yes.
2 times UK champion. Do you enjoy that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the mess. I love everything.
The carnage.
It's beautiful.
The chaos.
Yeah.
The destruction.
That's what we expected. And we got it.
You certainly
Great
did.
experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for our Dutch and Belgian roboteers. George.
Oh, great fight, really great. A great bunch, they really are.
They're catching up with us. Oh,
Next year, maybe.
I tell you, it'll be like the World Cup soon, the European Cup. We'll be losing everything. I can tell it. I can tell. Ladies and gentlemen, please, George Francis and the awesome, the mighty Chaos 2.
Beaten in the semi-finals of the Fourth Wars on a judge's decision. I love that massive titanium thrower. It can toss 800 kilos, powered by 2 golf cart motors. I wonder if it'll be hard cheddar for the opponents.
Hello, I'm Roger. This is Murray. This is John. We're the Really Big Cheese team from Somerset. This is our robot, all built out of titanium. Toughest robot on the block. Here to smash everything else to bits.
The Lobster with the claws and that very strong pneumatic CO2 flipper, 15 miles an hour top speed, 95 kilos in weight. Only Pussycat could stop this in the 4th series of the Wars.
We're Team Lobster, my name's Dave, this is Ian, this is our robot Thermidor 2. We're angry, we're ready for a fight, keep out of our way.
This CO2-powered gas ram spiked flipper comes from an industrial digger. 0 ground clearance, 96 kilos, 12 miles an hour top speeds.
Hello, my name is Ellie, and this is my brother Joe, and over here is my daddy Ian, and this is our secret weapon, a flipper, and this robot is called Bigger Brother.
Chaos 2 has never been beaten. It's the reigning British champion. The CO2 flipper's one of the most powerful ever seen. It's thrown more robots out of the arena than any other machine in history. Think you can be successful? Don't forget, there's many a flip twixt cup and lip, and we have house robots in there, like the heavyweight Matilda with the tusks and the flywheel, and alongside Matilda and fighting for us, Sergeant Bash. Watch for its flamethrower, but what a battle of the flippers we have ahead here.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So, who has the bigger flipper? Chaos 2, top of the picture. Thermidor goes in for, well, a tentative look, nothing more. Out comes Bash! Thermidor gets the first flip in on Bash, who retreats away to fight another day, and is toppled. Look at this, Thermidor straight in, up goes the flipper, Bash flies. Chaos 2 wanted some of the action, and Bigger Brother too, for that matter. And there goes Bash, toppled by Bigger Brother. Already we can see the power of these pneumatic flippers. This is Wheelie Big Cheese, under pressure from Matilda, and takes a bit of a bash. Wheelie Big Cheese, got those little spikes on the wheels, that's the end of Bash. Wheelie Big Cheese now, under pressure from Matilda there on the arena sidewalk. And Chaos 2, slamming into the pit release button. You can hear the siren activated. There's something strange going on, you know, out there. All the robots are attacking the house robots. No one's having a go at each other. Is this some sort of conspiracy against our machines? You dastardly competitors, you. This is not in the rules of house roboteering. I'm sure our poor robots. Bash, look, they're ganging up on him. Killalot, remember this. This is Chaos 2, flipping your friend. It's a flipping frenzy out there, and that's what we wanted. Chaos 2 with George Francis and Bigger Brother, with Ian Watts at the controls and Joe Watts, the weapon operators, only 8, combining to send Bash up into the air and crashing down into the CPZ. Now they're after the flamethrower. They want to put Bash out of business for all time, I think. Bash into the CPZ, and in trouble as the flamethrower. Does it come off, I wonder? I think the flamethrower has been discombobulated in the corner. The ref bot comes in and says, hang on, I've had enough of this. What's going on? This is terrible teamwork against our boys. Matilda wants a little bit of revenge. Thermidor gets out of the way. Matilda, oh, is there a tear? I think there's a tear for Bash. Is there something going on between Matilda and Bash that we need to know about? We'll find out in the pits maybe a little bit later on. George Francis in there. And Thermidor, the Thermidor team, look at this. With a little flip, not on Matilda, but on Chaos 2. Chaos 2 is overturned. George Francis may smile. And Thermidor 2, at long last, has taken on one of the other competitors here. Now, dodge that flywheel of Matilda. Thermidor 2, taking on Matilda's tusks. That's better. Wheelie Big Cheese is out of it. I think immobilised top left. Only Thermidor's left to fight here. It's a wearying contest. Too much use of the flipper can leave you tired and drained, obviously. Oh, and one last onslaught. Thermidor is the winner of this. Matilda left alone for the house robots. Well done, Thermidor.
Well, the flipping frenzy turns into flipping carnage, with all the house robots taking a flipping bashing. Let's hear it for the mighty flippers!
It was supposed to be a test of who had the mightiest flipper in Robot Wars, and they just all ganged up on the house robots.
Where put that many flippers in the ring at once, what do you expect? Want to be the first to get a house robot over the fence, didn't quite make it.
You were quite close though, weren't you?
We were trying hard, we wanted to...
Hey, come here. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at them. Poor losers indeed. Now go back to your toys, go back to your toys. Well, all I can say is that Thermidor were actually the only contestant robot still moving at the end of the flipping frenzy. So I declare you, personally, the winners! Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Thermidor!
From Bradford, Ipswich, Chaos 2. From Huntingdon, Tornado.
This is a grudge match. This is a challenge belt challenge. It's all in one. At 20 miles an hour, Chaos is quicker, but it's 14 kilos lighter. They fell foul of Tornado's driving attack last time around, and they've got to use their flipper early on.
Hi, we're the Chaos 2 team. This is Richard and Ian, and I'm George. And if you know anything at all about Robot Wars, you already know who we are.
Can whip up a storm with a vertically mounted 2,000 RPM 15 kilo spinning disc, can push all day long, and is very well controlled, dogged in pursuit too.
Hi, my name's Andrew Marchant. This is Brian Moss. This is David Gamble. We are Team Tornado. Remember how we pushed all the other robots around last year? Well, we're going to do the same this year because we have this. Everybody, beware.
Our house robots in the arena. Dead metal at 112 kilos, heavy and powerful. And alongside, Shunt, 105 kilos, slightly lighter but no less powerful with the push.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Another terrific battle in prospect between these two mighty robots. And again, Tornado with a push. Chaos 2 back in that CPZ again. This is where it got into trouble in the All-Stars semi-final. Chaos 2 out to prowl, though, this time. Patched up a little bit, perhaps, dented and bruised. But fierce once again. Tornado is simply relentless. And what can George Francis do here? He hasn't managed to use the flipper against Tornado, but he does against Shunt. Hey, get off my back, Shunt, he's saying here. Look at this. You're nagging me. Get out of my face, man. Shunt on the side and almost out of the arena. Chaos 2, side by side with Tornado. That's good driving by Tornado. But you see, Chaos 2 can flip, but Tornado's invertible. Can be flipped and still rolling. Still menacing. Still on the attack. We want to get side on because there you can see the drum here, the circular sort of drum saw can eat away at the side of Chaos 2. Chaos 2 does not want to be caught broadside. Dead metal comes out of the CPZ. Are we heading for another defeat here for Chaos 2? Are we heading for a new chapter in the history of Robot Wars? A new hierarchy to be created because Chaos 2 is in trouble again. Shunt with a bulldozer and the axe. No great damage caused, though, to Chaos 2. Well armoured. George Francis trying to get them out of the CPZ and go on the attack because he knows his time is ticking away here. If it goes to a judge, they are behind. In this challenge belt match. The belt is held by Tornado, of course. They have one belt for all time. There's a little flip from Chaos 2, but it's on a house robot. It is not against Tornado. They can push Shunt around all they want to. It's splendid to see. Look at this. In underneath, the CO2 pneumatic flipper. It is one of the most powerful in Robot Wars. But we have seen a vulnerability about Chaos 2 this time. The Robo-Ref going in to have a look at Shunt to make sure he's okay. Once again, Chaos 2 attacking Shunt. Tornado, meanwhile, is out of trouble, out of range, holding its distance. This is all very splendid for George Francis, but I'm not too sure if he's point scoring here. Where is Tornado while all this is going on? He's aggressive. Chaos 2 being aggressive, but almost suicidally so, because look, Dead Metal Saw is in there. And again, Tornado more restrained and controlled. Now with a nudge on Dead Metal, trying to help Chaos 2 out, perhaps. Brothers in time of need. Andrew Marchant at the controls. Brian Moss, the weapon operator with the long hair. Tornado spins away. And it's Chaos 2 being counted out again by the ref bot. A flip or two, but flipping heck, Chaos 2 has been beaten again. That is sensational. Well, the king is dead, long live the king, perhaps. Chaos 2 ceased. Will it ever be as strong again? George, what's happened? Flipped in the air, Chaos 2. The reigning British champion in Extreme has found its matching tornado.
From the United Kingdom, Chaos 2.
First to enter the arena and carrying British hopes, Chaos 2. Twice the British champion, but flopped in the last World Championships. Quickest in this heat at up to 20 miles an hour. The CO2 power flippers, highly potent. George Francis at the controls is one of the world's best.
From the United States of America, Manta.
Stealthy looking, a six-wheel drive fighting machine with a carbide ramming point in the rear and spinning case-hardened steel blade in the front. Will this provide stateside Roboteers with a Manta ray of sunshine?
From Italy, Mastiff.
The heaviest in the heat at 85 kilos. It has a pneumatic lifter, a 12-volt battery power, a ground clearance of a centimetre. May not sound much, but Chaos and Manta will exploit it. The Bull Mastiff may turn into a whimpering puppy.
From Germany, Ansgar.
Only 74 kilos, the lightest in the battle, has interchangeable lance or lever weapons, both hitting at 300 times a minute. It won't budge when it sits down, they say. The outer shell's made from an old motorway sign.
Roboteers, stand by.
Battling against each other and our house robots like Sir Killalot. Seemingly invincible, it is! And alongside him, Sergeant Bash with that flamethrower and the pincers.
3, 2, 1.
So it's Britain against the States, against Italy, against Germany, and immediately Chaos 2 on the attack, and throwing Mastiff over. Oh, look at that, though! It's self-righted immediately. That's Ansgar defending against Manta with a circular storm once again. Chaos 2 tries to flip Mastiff, the first fighting machine ever to come out of Italy, and well designed, but it's hit the pit release button there, top of your picture. You heard the siren, the pit is descending. One of these robots could go into it now, and Chaos 2 tried to nudge Mastiff towards that pit, and Chaos 2 have driven themselves in. Oh, what a major surprise! One of the favourites for the World Championships, they're out. Chaos 2 flopped in the heat in the previous World Championships, and they've gone again, and so's the Mastiff. They're in as well. Which leaves just the two. A major surprise here. Manta of the United States of America, Ansgar of Germany. And it looks as if it's going to be Manta all the way. The team have been friends for 10 years. Jeff Chesnick, Billy Bowden and Chris Tyson. And they've nudged Ansgar onto the angle grind at the side there of the arena, pushing it along the side wall onto the flame pit. The crowd clearly think Manta here are on top, and they are. And Ansgar are being counted out, immobilised. The ref bot counts them down. This is an absolute stunner in the first heat of the World Championships. Manta go through to the semi-finals. What about that?
From Bramford, Ipswich, Chaos 2.
The role model for so many flippers, and it now has more push and power. CO2 powered from a fire extinguisher and up to 20 miles an hour. It's the quickest in the heat.
From Methley, Leeds in Yorkshire, Storm.
The debut for this three-wheeled cylindrical Stormbringer with a top-mounted axe or spiked arm and front flipper. The skin is armour-plated aluminium.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Storm Force team, Adam Bonham driving, Dave Bewley at the weapons, and George Francis, of course, at the controls of Chaos 2.
In the arena for the house robot, Sergeant Bash with the flamethrower and the pincers. And battling with him, Matilda. Watch for the tusks and the 27-kilo deadly flywheel.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Is Chaos 2 the reigning champion? Unbeatable. Storm Force. The first to test the powerful flipper, even more powerful, they tell us these days, of Chaos 2. And there we can see the champions are back and mindful of the business in hand. This time there's a silent assault, and Storm Force is being tossed to the elements here underneath the high ground clearance of Storm Force. And already Chaos 2 creating a whirlwind of its own, a typhoon out there. Storm Force, scarcely a Stormbringer, and smoking, it would seem to me. In trouble internally. Chaos 2 already has this eliminator in its grasp. This is very impressive from George Francis and his team. This time, end on. Flicking Storm Force up, but it crashes down. You have to say, it's resilient, and it's showing a cold front to Chaos 2 there before tumbling away again. And straight on to Matilda's flywheel. And I just wonder, oh yes, whether Matilda can cause some damage to Chaos 2, because George Francis, you were lingering too long in there. Didn't reverse away from peril, and you got yourself stuck. But Storm Force again, roly-poly, trying to dig into the arena floor using the spike weapon. George Francis and Chaos well in command. Looks ponderous, doesn't it, at best? Hardly cause any problems. And Chaos 2 releasing the pit because Storm Force already there! And down you go! The pressure is descending for Storm Force. They're out.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, twice a series champion and also a grand finalist in Series 2. There's the Steel Avenger team, never before beyond the heats. Sergeant Bash. A long-range weapon is the main strength. And my favourite, you all know that, the gorgeous Matilda.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
This for a place in the heat final. Can anyone stop Chaos 2's rampage to glory once again? The Steel Avenger, not with form like that. Flipped up onto their side. In comes Chaos again. More power. The bigger CO2 bottle. Steel Avenger using its 3-men. The self-righting mechanism, abbreviated in the Robot Wars lexicon to 3-men. Onto its side. Can they get up and over again? Another buffeting and a bashing from Chaos 2. Brilliantly controlled as ever by George Francis. On the attack. Once and twice and thrice. The Steel Avenger. All chrome and shiny steel. But all that glitters is not gold, perhaps, for John and Jackie Willoughby and Tony Bates, because already they're up against it. There's John at the controls. They turn. They try and perhaps wedge it underneath Chaos 2. Wrong tactics. Chaos 2 lifts. It comes thundering down this 100-kilo machine, the Steel Avenger. Can get up to 15-mile-an-hour top speeds. Once again, though, that 2-centimetre ground clearance is the Achilles heel. I thought it might be right at the start of the programme, because there you can see Chaos 2 can get in underneath, and if it can get that flipper underneath the Steel Avenger again, that close to the inner sidewall, the Avenger could be out. Created history in Series 3 of Robot Wars by flipping Firestorm out of the arena, the first ever robot to do so. And there they go! The Steel Avenger, I thought that's the way it was going to end, and even they loved it. Systematically pushed towards the arena sidewall, and in the end, over and out.
From cyberspace, Smidzy. From Bramford, Chaos 2. Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2, hot favourite with George Francis, Ian and Richard Swan there. And Smidzy, Robin Bennett at the controls, Andy Pugh, the jaw operator, Mike Reed making up the team.
Chaos 2 Killalot can crush and spear. Shunt can push and demolish.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
And this is for a place in the series semi-finals. Oh, an immediate onslaught head-to-head by Smithy, but the flick got straight in there from Chaos 2 once and twice. It's invertible Smithy. It can run either way up. The jaws try and grapple Chaos 2. They can't gain any purchase. Chaos 2 awaits its moment here, it seems, to get in underneath and push very steadily towards the arena side wall, and out it goes. Just about hanging on, but there was determination, there was style, and there was control behind that Chaos 2 attack. They flipped themselves over. Are we going to see an almighty shock here? Can Chaos 2 right themselves in time? The red body's in there having a glance. This will be an almighty shock. You need to get going, George Francis, and right yourselves. A Smithy, meanwhile, immobilised. They were pushed steadily onto the arena sidewall, but then Chaos 2 flipped themselves up. Were they over-cocky? Were they over-confident? I think Smithy have been immobilised, though the jaws are still working there. Can Chaos 2 right themselves in time? We could be seeing here one of the greatest shocks in Robot Wars history. Unless Smithy have been immobilised, I think George Francis has been immobilised. What happens now? The judges will have to decide.
Well, what a turn-up. Both robots obviously immobilised at the same time. The judges have instantly called for a rematch. Now, I agree. The Roboteers agree. So while they retake their marks, let's look at the story so far.
A rematch? It's never happened before. Chaos 2 doing all the early work. Smithy immobilised about then, and Chaos 2 also.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Here we go again. This time, Smithy a little bit more cautious. Not the full frontal attack, dodging away from Chaos 2. Interesting. Will Chaos 2 once again get in underneath Smithy's ground clearance of 1.8 centimetres and push towards the arena side wall and then flick them out? Smithy turned up and over, 99 kilos in weight. Just imagine throwing that as easily as Chaos 2 are doing. Tremendous power in that flipper. And now again, you see the shove, but Killalot's in the way, blocking the way to the arena side wall. But Smithy just crashed down onto the edge of the CPZ, and that means Killalot can have a go again. And I wonder if Smithy have been immobilised once more. Chaos 2 with a flip, and again Killalot gets out of the way wisely with Chaos 2 in this sort of mood. Is it inevitable? A retreat, the onslaught, and there they go. Chaos 2 march on. The Smithy boys are beaten by that man, George Francis, out of the arena once again. Are they unbeatable?
Roboteers, stand by.
At the controls of Chaos 2, George Francis has only failed to make the series final once in 4 attempts. Wild Thing, the Addams Family, Nick, Isabel and Jake. In the arena for the House Robots, key factor for Dead Metal, the weapons synergy between pincer and saw. Key factor for Shunt in the arena, it hates everything that moves.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Good old battle this, eh? Chaos, nifty, as I said, quicker than Wild Thing, flipping Wild Thing, in underneath. Wild Thing technically with a 0 ground clearance, that doesn't really matter again. Our poor old pit release, tyres come off the arena sidewall. Chaos 2's flipped over, can right of course, using that hugely powerful CO2 front flipper at the Sremek. Wild Thing topple once again. This is furious, fast, frenetic action in the Robot Wars semi-final arena. They turn, they twist, they manoeuvre. The buzzer sounds. That means the pit is descending quickly. They have to avoid it here. George Francis at the controls of Chaos 2, dancing the dance with Wild Things. Nick Adams, dad to Isabel, and Jake Adams, who've grown up around the Robot Wars arena. Wild Thing under pressure. Semi-finalists in Series 3, beaten by Panic Attack. Semi-finalists in Series 4, beaten by Hypnotist. Semi-finalists in Series 5, will they be beaten by Chaos 2? Oh, almost turning turtle. But Nick Adams can bring Wild Thing back onto the attack. They slam, they crash. Sparks fly. It's brilliant control. Wild Thing very nearly at Chaos 2 in the pit. Look at that, right on the lip, and George Francis comes Shunt, slamming down there onto the top of Wild Thing, almost lost underneath the House Robots. Chaos 2 with the flipper wedged in underneath. Wild Thing, moments ago on the verge of victory, now fighting for survival perhaps. Chaos 2 once again bumping and barging. Wild Thing is tossed, Will Self-Right levering itself up on that arm. Tries to get the 6,000 RPM spinning disc into action. They are still here, courageously fighting back, and Chaos 2 again, toppled onto its side. How did they stay out? How on earth did they survive another onslaught? Look at this. Surely they must go into the pit of oblivion. And George Francis breathes again and lives another Robot Wars life. The clock is ticking down on one of the most bruising and thrilling Robot Wars battles I can ever remember. Fantastic.
What an amazing battle! I wouldn't like to call it. We're going to have to go to the judges while they're making up their minds. Let's review the highlights of that amazing fight.
Glad you start with the highlights. A flip from Chaos 2, and again onto the arena sidewall, and again. Wild Thing, no, you got no chance on the evidence of this. Topple, twisted and turned, but look at that! Chaos 2 twice surviving the pit. Who has won this? I'm glad I don't have to decide.
Well, the judges have made their decision. Now, you know what they're looking at. They're looking at style, control, damage, and aggression. The one thing I'm surprised about is it's a unanimous decision. And it's gone to Chaos 2!
Roboteers stand up.
Chaos 2 with George Francis at the controls, Ian Swan and his son Richard in there with him. And bigger brother with Dad Ian Watts, Joe and Ellie. The kids have to face up to Sir Killalot. Oh, what a thought. That's not bad enough. The Grizzly Sergeant Bash is in there as well.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Winner of this goes through to the grand final. The loser gets absolutely nothing, and bigger brothers, formidable flipper, outflips Chaos 2, who are unbeaten in the last 2 series of UK domestic Robot Wars. But bigger brother for me is by far the more aggressive. Will Chaos 2 pace themselves better though? Trying to get in underneath bigger brother. Chaos 2 has a 10mm ground clearance. Little Joe and the weapons of bigger brother will try to get in underneath Chaos 2 and flip. Chaos 2 has 0 ground clearance. The brother is turned topside, rights itself again. They crash and bash. Ellie tries to peer through the plexiglass up there in our control booth to get a better angle on the fight. Her brother Joe isn't doing a bad job at all with the weaponry of bigger brother at Chaos 2. I wonder if they can flip themselves here. Have they run out of CO2 power? It is not a limitless supply. Rolled over again, and once more. The pit release button has been depressed. I think Chaos 2 are out of CO2 gas, and so does he. George Francis knows his reign here as British champion is about to end. Sensational. Bigger brother, once a previous semi-finalist. Outclassed surely in this series of Robot Wars? No. They're about to make the grand final. History is made. Chaos 2 is toppled. George Francis out. Major, major shot.
From Bramford in Ipswich, the number 5 seed, Chaos 2.
They're back.
You want to know who you're up against? Okay, you're up against Mighty Mouse, Destructosaur, and Iron Ore.
Don't like big axes, so iron ore's a worry. And the other one's a big hydraulic cutter on the front, which will make a nasty mess of the flipper if he gets hold of it.
Can they get their crown back with a high-powered flipper? Although that does have a limited CO2 supply, and at only 84 kilos, this could be pushed around too easily this time.
From Edinburgh in Scotland, Destructosaur.
A barrel of laughs, not with that cutter at the front.
For your first battle, you'll be up against Chaos 2.
Not a problem.
Not a problem?
Not a problem. He's
Not even a
frightened.
blink.
He's frightened.
Is he? Now,
We're going to snip right through his flipper.
Well, having just spoken to them, they are frightened of this cutter. What kind of force has it got?
I don't know, but it'll go through 8mm aluminium, no problem. So it'll go right through his flipper if we get under him.
Oh, that'd be lovely to see.
First time in Robot Wars, those strong jaws, speed at 20 miles an hour, but no streamek, and periodically bursts into flames. What good is that?
From Lowham in Somerset, Iron Ore 2.
The Grimm family are back, but they don't write fairy stories.
I'm glad to see you wearing the team colours, yellow and black.
Yellow, of course.
Well done.
Of course, in your honour. You're up against Chaos 2, guys.
Yep. We've always wanted to play Chaos 2.
Have you?
Yes.
What are you going to get him with?
Well, he's very vulnerable to an axe.
Yes, I think they're slightly worried about this little
They are very
axe,
worried
which I
about
can
that.
film for you there. Let me just check I've got a nice shot. Yes, they are worried about it.
Yeah.
You think you can do some serious damage?
If we get the opportunity, you can certainly do the damage.
Has an extremely fast axe and flipper capable of lifting a ton, very manoeuvrable, can self-right with the axe. It'll need to. They haven't ironed out a major problem. It can be flipped too easily.
From Clifton in Nottingham, Mighty Mouse.
Aha! We set the traps. This is the mouse.
This is a prize robot because it's so small, isn't it?
It's very small, yeah.
What's that going to give you?
It gives speed. It's also very strong. It's very difficult to break. And it's very manoeuvrable.
Yes, the fastest in the heat at 30 miles an hour, but by far the lightest, 36-volt power with a high-speed rammer. But, ooh, listen out for the squeaks of pain.
Roboteers, stand by.
Two experienced teams together in the pod. George Francis's Chaos 2 on the right, Gilbert Grimm's Iron Ore on the left. And there on the left-hand side, Destructosaur, Captain Ricardo de Felice, Mighty Mouse, captained by Trevor Wright. In the arena for the House Robots, Sir Killalot with a blinking eye, so deadly and menacing, and Sergeant Bash with the flamethrower.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Chaos 2 seeds 5 for this series of Robot Wars, and immediately getting that flipper to work, but turning themselves over. They can self-right and in splendid fashion. The team most at risk out there now is Destructosaur, the barrel-shaped robot. They're trying to self-right, and they won! Iron Ore gone! Look at that for an attack by Chaos 2! And yet another robot is flipped out of the arena completely by George Francis and the flippability factor of Chaos 2. So many robots are modelled on his design. Chaos 2, sleek, mean, and a very damaging machine. Surely Destructosaur is out as well. They didn't really have any sort of a run. They were turned turtle in the opening seconds of this four-way melee, and Mighty Mouse, which has done absolutely nothing, I think is heading through to the second round of this heat. It needs now to avoid any sort of damage. Go on, run away, Mighty Mouse. Don't get anywhere near Chaos 2. How powerful is that Mighty Mouse tail, by the way? Have a look. Oh, it's frightening. Look at the damage that tail can cause. Just imagine, it has the power of a feather. Mighty Mouse, go on, squeak away to safety. Stay away from Chaos. Boo, Chaos 2, boo! Don't you touch our little mouse. Stay away. Oh, Mighty Mouse! What's happening now? Destructosaur has moved exactly nowhere there at the top of your picture. Mighty Mouse, I think Chaos 2 might have been a little bit kind on them, but we know already that Iron Ore 2 is out of the arena, and finally they're going to count out Destructosaur, the ref bot. Splendid stuff. Mighty Mouse is heading through. Would you believe it? Destructosaur out and Chaos 2 predictably through. And Destructosaur's a punishment for doing absolutely nothing in Robot Wars Series 6 is about to be seen. On the floor flipper. Very, very heavy, actually. I don't know how the flipper's going to work here. Oh, big barrel of lard. Over it goes. They told me it looked a little bit like a tortoise or a dinosaur. Yeah, dinosaurs are extinct. Oh, that was a mighty shove. crashed down, rolled away but out. Dented as well in the side.
Cease.
Chaos 2 through with the mouse.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Message here, don't mix it with the house robots. Chaos 2 immediately on the attack on Crush Station. Well, they were having an argument and a Barney and a bit of a rant and a rage about the claws. Ian Visser, good rant-a-claws, rant-a-claws, rant-a-claws. That's good. Well, maybe not. Crush Station being dragged across the arena floor by Chaos 2. Oh, Chaos is on his side! This really would be a turn-up for the book because Crush Station is not fighting at its full capability, we know that. And look at Chaos 2, twice UK champion on its side. Using the flipper to self-right. The inbuilt Streamex self-righting mechanism. George Francis at the controls. Captain, driver, weapons operator, self-employed electronics engineer by trade. But his machine is in peril here. Crush Station. And little Dominic looks on. What a great fight this is. Digging down on the front spikes of Chaos 2 to gain purchase on the arena floor. Literally trying to force with 84 kilos of weight. Crush Station across the floor. But I think Chaos 2 at 84 kilos is lightweight. To be honest, nowadays for Robot Wars, and if Crush Station can get in underneath, they could literally toss Chaos 2 out of the arena. But Chaos has come back strongly now. They're dancing together. Crush Station, can they rise from the depths of the pool of Robot Wars machines that have never quite made it to the heights of those that have gone on to great success? Down goes the pit of oblivion. Oh, Crush Station very, very close! Oh dear, and they crab sideways, back down into the pool and the pit of oblivion. After all that, spinning stupidly and surrendering.
Danto Micaiah. Chaos 2. Roboteers, stand by.
There's young Dan on the right-hand side, after whom Dan Tom Keir is named, with his dad Michael and Stephen Gadsby in there, and Chaos 2, George Francis, Ian Swan and young Richards. Shunt is in the arena for the house robots for this heat final. The winners go into the series semi-final. And alongside Shunt, one, the irrepressible, charming Sir Killalot.
3, 2, 1.
Just a quick reminder, George Francis with Chaos 2 has never failed to reach the series semi-final. And immediately on the attack on Dan Tom Keir. Naive and inexperienced driving there, I thought, from Dan Tom Keir. They exposed themselves for Chaos 2 to get in underneath and flick, but both flick themselves up and over there, and in comes Shunt into the CPZ. Who's going to right themselves first? Dan Tom Keir springing and jumping, so Killalot comes out. Chaos 2 is on the arena sidewall here. We've got some drama in that CPZ, I can tell you. Dan Tom Keir, OK, they're first up and away, and they'll come in now with a full frontal slam on Chaos 2. Chaos 2 trying to flip themselves. Now they have a limited CO2 supply, don't forget. They can't keep trying to right themselves, Chaos 2, and use that flipper. Dan Tom Keir, and they're out, over and out. Chaos 2 have gone. For the first time ever, that machine has failed to reach a series semi-final. And Dan Tom Keir, Michael Lambert, Daniel his son, Stephen Gadsby, brilliant. Dan Tom Keir through to the series semi. What a performance, what a machine. This could go all the way. Very resolute. Righted themselves, then came in underneath. 84 kilos of Chaos 2, a well-timed thrust, the flick, and they were out.
Well, that is a turn-up for the books. Chaos 2, two-time UK champion, gets flipped out of the arena by a totally unknown robot. Dan Tom Keir through to the series semi-finals.
Reigning world champions and promising to shave opponents even closer.
Now, I don't know if I can bear to tell you this, but the Razor team have made improvements. Well, first of all, to their appearance. Yeah, let's have a quick look at this. Turn your head. Yeah, look. Razor! How cool is that? But also, thousands of pounds worth of equipment has gone in here.
Certainly has. It's about £1,000 worth of new batteries and speed controllers.
So there's the batteries and speed controllers.
Yeah, not including the wheels.
And the wheels.
Neat tenderisers, aren't they?
Added traction.
Added traction, added weaponry, added whoosh ability.
Viciously nimble, fast, a very powerful and accurate weapon, that hydraulic piercer, now on killer wheels. Not the quickest, and also slow to self-right.
From Bradford in Ipswich, Chaos 2.
Twice UK champions, previous All-Stars semi-finalists.
Chaos 2. Shouldn't you be about to Chaos 3, 4, 5 even by now?
Possibly, yeah. Sorry, haven't had time.
That's pathetic, because the Razor team have made loads, thousands of pounds worth of improvements.
That's not going to help them.
Do you reckon?
Nah, no chance. No.
Not even those spiky wheels?
Oh, I might do, but not much.
You think you can push them around?
Yeah.
Can you get them out of the arena?
Give it a go.
That's what we want to see.
Well, we know it has that high-powered flipper and two-wheel drive, but we also now know it's vulnerable to axes, can run out of gas. No improvements. How costly will that be?
From Hinckley in Leicestershire, 13 Black.
Place your bets now.
13 Black have a new team member, Tasha. Welcome, Tasha.
Hello.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Now, particularly so because your first fight's in with Razor. Do you think you can beat him?
Yes.
Good. Positive thinking. How are you going to do it, though? The discs are a bit improved, aren't they? Tell me about them.
Yeah, well, they're not really improved. They're just the same old 800 RPM, 90-mile-an-hour discs, you know.
But they're stronger.
Yeah.
I knew you'd made them stronger. So your aim, then, is to wipe the floor with Chaos on one side and Razor on the other?
Yeah, I think we should be able to do that easy enough.
Is there any chance?
There's every chance.
Good. Well, it's a game of chance, isn't it? Get it?
The weaponry, two 850mm chrome molly-bladed carbon composite spinning discs with 20-mile-an-hour top speeds. It's rushing roulette, but it doesn't like being flipped.
Roboteers, stand by.
Let's have a look at the teams. Razor, Ian Lewis, Simon Scott and Vincent Blood, the world champions. And together in the pod, Chaos 2 there on the left, George Francis, Ian Swan, Richard Swan and 13 Black, John and Tasha Denny and Richard Morris. In the arena, Mr. Psycho, gruesome as ever. And also fighting for the house robots, Shunt.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, were 13 Black spinning their weaponry before Activate was sounded? Did they try and get a little advantage there, I wonder? Razor comes in and immediately stops one of those roulette blades spinning. Chaos 2 can get the flipper to work, but cannot hoist the combined weight of Razor and 13 Black. I'll remind you of the rules. One robot falls at this stage. Two survive to the second round of today's show. Will it be Razor surviving? Brilliantly self-righting after that flip from Chaos. They landed right way up on those killer wheels. Were they lucky, or was it superb driving? It was a great attack by Chaos, and once again Razor got the grips on 13 Black, and once again Razor, by doing so, have just opened themselves up to a flip by Chaos. But Chaos cannot lift 192 kilos of combined Razor and 13 Black. Razor very much here on the scent of 13 Black. Chaos comes in, something's come off Razor! It's one of the arms! They use those to pirouette and self-right Razor, and look at the attack of Chaos too! And it was 13 Black spinning blade that ripped one of those arms away! Now, will Razor be able to self-right at the world champions here in real trouble? Twice world champions. Chaos 2, twice previously UK champions. After all, we're talking all-stars here. Razor and Chaos 2 have they been immobilised. Razor has a look and a crumple, and in goes the beak and pierces Chaos 2's armament. They know the weak spots of Chaos 2. So many battles over the years. Is it time for Chaos to go back
to the drawing board and replan George Francis there on the right, because your machine is in dire peril. Being lifted up by Razor, 13 black, top of your picture, staying out of trouble, but I think did well early on here. Could be a surprise factor in these All-Star Championships. Don't forget, you'll see the climax, the All-Star final later on. Firestorm already there. And the ref bot counting down and counting out a sad looking Chaos 2. Out they go. The lights are blinking, George Francis. But there's no one at home. Oh no! Ignominy! Infamy! What's gonna happen? Will the crushing hammer of Psycho come down, or will it be the floor flipper? It is! Chaos 2, over and out in the All-Stars Championship. Oh, not the hammer now, surely. Ooh! What was not flat before is now mighty. There's the pit release button, activated by Shunt, perhaps just to put Chaos 2 out of its misery. Mr. Psycho has you in its claw. That just gives you some sense of Psycho's size out there. He is immense. It's just a mere bauble, a toy in the grip of Psycho. I wonder if that's the last time we'll see Chaos 2 in that format. Maybe the end of an era here.
Cease.